This club will never learn their lesson. Manchester United want Harry Kane to sign for them possibly next summer, knowing that he has a transfer clause. Now, how many strikers do Man United want to go through and waste the money on just for them not to work out and then send them on loan and pay half their wages for them to succeed with another club? You bought Xerxes. Haven't heard of that lad in a minute now. And when he was playing, you were treating him poorly. He was getting booed by fans, substituted early, not developing as a young striker. And now they gave up on him. They brought in Højlund, for over 70 million for scoring 9 goals in the Serie A. And you spend 71 million with them. He, does amazing in the Champions League, but in the league, he struggled a lot. Right? He struggled a lot, had insane goal droughts, and then you give up on him after a year at the club, right? And then you loan him out to Napoli. First game, scores a goal on his debut for Napoli. So Antonio Conte has, the Man United rejects, and he's turning them into serial winners. Literally putting Scott McTominay on the Ballon d'Oro list. I wouldn't be surprised if Højlund wins the Golden Boot with Napoli, if he gets the opportunity to, because it seems like Antonio Conte hasn't been good enough to manage Man United, but the second there's a Man United reject, he turns them from a flop to gold. He's done it with McTominay, and he will do it with Højlund. And and Lukaku too. He won the league with Lukaku as a striker. But Harry Kane going to Man United makes no sense because they brought in another striker in Benjamin Sesko. We're not even into October, and they already talking about bringing in another striker next season. Do you know your midfield is Casemiro without any legs, past his prime, and Bruno Fernandes, who cries and moans all the time? That is your midfield. That midfield doesn't work unless the other team has 10 men like Chelsea did. It's the solid truth because there's no defensive work rates there. It's the honest truth. You have an attacking mid and a center defensive mid past his prime. And then you don't use Ugarte and Mainu as your starting, midfield, because with what you got, that is the best midfield that you can do in this formation because they will run a lot. Unlike Casemiro and Bruno, they won't have the same work rates as those two. That's why you're always getting destroyed in transition because you don't have legs in the midfield. So instead of trying to waste, 65, 80 million on some midfielders like Adam Warden, Baleba, you want to bring in yet another striker? Lads, what are you doing? Striker's not the problem. The midfield is the problem. Maybe another fullback on the right-hand side would work. Maybe a center back so you don't have to have Harry Maguire still in big 2025 starting great, big games. But a striker's not the problem. Harry Kane, world-class striker. Nobody is going to argue that. But you're going to get him when he's 33, 34 years of age. And you're going to pay 65 million. That's his release clause. For a 33, 34-year-old striker just to come in and break Alan Shearer's record. That's what you want? That's all you want, just for him to break, because that's all you're going to get. You think you're going to win anything more than a cup with Harry Kane coming into the club? Because Harry Kane's a fantastic striker, but Bayern are getting, the best out of Kane, and they will let him go once they feel like they aren't getting the best out of Harry Kane. And that's why they have the release clause. Yes, they're saying there's some truth to it. I'm not even going to doubt you. There's always 3 things certain in life. Death, taxes, and Man United buying yet another striker for over 50 million every single transfer window. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then we're going to see Sesko get sent on loan. Sent on loan to what? Where are you going to send him? To Bayern? Where are you going to send him? Dortmund? And he ends up becoming a great player, comes back, doesn't play well with Man United, loan again. Doesn't play well with Man United, sells them for 15 million after investing 70, 80 million for him. That's the Man United way. That's the formula. They're like, oh, what's wrong with Man United's transfer formula? Well, we buy stocks high and we sell them low. But then we wonder why the kit man isn't getting a sandwich for lunch. Why, the employees have to bring their own lunch. Why they can't hire a guy to wash, the clothing anymore and the players have to wash their own jerseys. Why they're cutting budgets for the staff. Why the end of the party, you only get 2 drink, waiver, you get 2 meals, and if you want to bring anyone else, the player himself or the employee has to pay for it. That doesn't happen at other clubs. That doesn't happen at City, Arsenal, or Tottenham because they're not buying 80, 90 million strikers, sending them on loan, and then having them succeed when you're paying half their wages to play against you. It's the solid truth. Bring in Harry Kane. I'll tell you this. It's literally just gonna be Harry Kane breaking the record. Oh yeah, with Man United. Ooh, but you don't win the Premier League. You don't win the Champions League. No, because I'm telling you right now, Harry Kane has experience with mediocre midfields. So he does really slide in pretty perfectly with the mediocre midfield. Maybe Ruben Amorim's looking at that because a great quote was, Harry Kane would love to be at the end of Harry Kane's passes. Amazing. But you don't have anybody that's going to put a ball into Harry Kane in 2026, because if you're not getting rid of Bruno Fernandes next summer, mate, for real. Like, you're going to pass up on an 80 million, bid from Al Hilal when Bruno Fernandes isn't fitting into the squad. He's unhappy. He's moaning all the time. Like, let's get real. The midfield needs an upgrade. Harry Kane going to Man United isn't going to move the needle. Like, maybe you're going from 15th, you might go to 10th. Maybe you qualify possibly to Conference League. But this is not the way you're going to be able to go back to the glory days. I'm sorry, because back then, yes, Man United could go in and get a Zlatan or, somebody of that caliber, that's older in age. But this club is nowhere near where it was when Mourinho was there. It was still, it was here with Sir Alex Ferguson, with Moyes, with Mourinho, still going down. But now you're down here. You're with Everton. You're with Brighton, Brentford. You're not with the big boys no more. Stop trying to make these dumb transfers because it's really just putting this club into a worse financial situation. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Do you think Harry Kane and Man United makes sense? Personally, I don't. It's time to work on that midfield.